The new skate game is finally here, so I figured I might as well do a quick review as I've been playing it for about a week now and I've got a lot to say, so let's get into it. So I know this is a bit different from my usual content on this channel, but I figured I might as well do a review since this game is free and I've actually played all the previous skate games before, so I thought I might as well give my take on it and see whether it's actually any good and go over some issues that I've noticed with the game. However, this game is obviously in early access, so some of this stuff might change at some point in the future, so I probably will do another review on this game when it comes out of early access and they add more stuff to it. So let's start with the story. Unlike the previous games, you're not trying to build your own board company or take down some evil anti-skateboarding mega corporation like in Skate 2. Here you're basically thrown into a force tutorial that you can't skip, and then you have to go out and do challenges to level up districts. I guess there is an attempt at a story, but honestly it's barely there compared to the older games. In the previous games there was a focus on impressing pro skaters, getting magazine covers and building your reputation. But here, it just feels like you're doing challenges for some sort of robot thing, basically, and to unlock loot boxes, or get the currency to unlock the loot boxes. Yeah, there is obviously loot boxes in this game, which I'll get into in a minute. At least currently anyway, in this game, there's not a lot you can actually do. You can do these challenges, which are fine, I suppose, although they can be a little bit frustrating and strangely hard sometimes. But yeah, aside from that, there's not a lot you can actually do. There's no Hall of Meat stuff, there's no like X Games stuff. You're not trying to get magazine covers or trying to do events like that. And not even really any multiplayer events as well. There's no like death races or anything along those lines. So yeah, there's not a lot you can actually do in this game aside from obviously doing these challenges to unlock the currency to unlock loot boxes. But yeah, unfortunately there's not a lot in this game for some reason. I don't know, it just seems kind of weird that they released the game with this lack of content, really. Obviously, they will add stuff in the future, so that's good, but yeah, currently, there's not a lot you can actually do. So let's talk about the loot boxes, microtransactions, and monetization in this game. Since it's an EA title, it's not too surprising that loot boxes are included. They're not the worst, I guess, at least in the sense that you don't have to unlock them using premium currency, but it's still pretty clear why they're here. In my opinion, the loot boxes are clearly designed to make players grind challenges and spend more time in the game. Obviously you have to unlock the currency to actually buy the loot boxes, I guess, or at least unlock them. And if you could just go in and buy a t-shirt or item you actually wanted, it would make you spend less time in the game compared to having to grind to unlock a loot box and then getting a sticker or something else that you didn't want, compared to the item that you actually wanted. So yeah, in my opinion, that's probably the reason why they're in the game in the first place, basically to make players spend time in the game, I guess. Or at least grind challenges to unlock the currency to unlock the loot boxes. Also, I could see them adding in premium loot boxes at some point in the future. That seems very likely, unfortunately, and I definitely could see them doing that. So what about the microtransactions? Unfortunately, there is microtransactions in the game as part of the cosmetic store. Everything costs the premium currency, $7 to buy, which obviously isn't great. Right now, the only real way to actually get $7 is by paying with real money. I did get some for free for, I think it was early access stuff actually. I don't know why I got some for free, but yeah, I got some for free for logging in, I think. And they will be included in the season pass. But for now, if you want more, you're going to have to go and buy them. And the prices for the items in store are also pretty ridiculous once you convert them into real world money. For example, the Grim Reaper bundle costs just under £21.99 in $7, and a simple pair of Vans shoes is about £4.49. That's a lot to spend on virtual items in a game that could easily shut down in a year or so. So yeah, pretty overpriced and pretty ridiculous once you convert it into real world money, but obviously that's how they actually make money from this game, sending you overpriced stuff basically. So I'm adding this in while I'm editing because I forgot to mention it earlier, but I do think that this game probably will end up doing collaborations with brands and celebrities, kind of like what Fortnite does where they add in something like Family Guy skins or something like that. I definitely could see that happening to this game, and I do think that's very likely, especially considering how the game's basically built for microtransactions. So what about the season pass? It looks like there is one that's going to be coming to the game pretty soon, at some point in October. And from what I've seen, it doesn't seem too bad. You'll be able to actually get quite a few items for free, which is good. And there doesn't seem to be any big issues with it so far. Of course, we don't know for sure as of yet, as it's not been released, but it does look promising, and I do think that it will be a good addition to this game, especially as there's not a lot you can actually do at the moment in terms of actual gameplay, really. So yeah, the Season Pass definitely will improve things. They also announced an update that will add new music and some new skate brands to the game, because right now there's definitely a clear lack of skate brands in the game compared to Skate 3. They're planning on adding in Santa Cruz, Independent and Creature. It's kind of strange that these weren't already in the game, but I guess there's probably a licensing issue or something, and that's the reason why. Yeah, kind of weird how there's not much skate brands in a game about skateboarding. But thankfully these are being added, or at least are on the way, so that's good. They also said that they're going to be working on the graphics as well, which is good, because right now the game looks kind of strange, to be honest. The characters look like Fortnite characters, and the map just feels way too clean and unnatural. So at least they are actually working on the graphics, I suppose. I was originally going to make a whole section about the graphics, but since it's in early access and they said that they are going to be improving them, it doesn't feel fair. Still, I should point out that the game in its current state does look a little bit strange. I don't know, something about it just seems really off to me. Maybe it's because the characters look kind of like Fortnite characters, but the map also kind of looks real, but also not real, if that makes sense. I don't know, something about it just seems really off, but thankfully they are actually going to be improving that by the looks of it, so that's good. However, I should also mention that at least some of the game feels kind of soulless to me, actually. I don't know, I don't really know how to put my finger on it, but something about it just seems really off, as I said. And I think a good example of that is the Meat Man. In Skate 3, the Meat Man was a reward from the Hall of Meat challenges, and it was basically a giant slab of meat, I think like a steak or something, on a skateboard, which was ridiculous and unnatural, but also fun. But in this game, it's just a person wearing like a meat costume, basically. And it just looks kind of weird, really. Maybe they did it for ratings or something along those lines, but yeah, it does seem kind of strange that it's been turned from like a slab of meat that can skateboard somehow to a person wearing a costume. But aside from those issues, I don't think this is a terrible game at all. When it comes to the actual gameplay and skateboard physics, it feels really smooth. I definitely would say it's an improvement over the previous skate games in this area. I also haven't run into any major bugs, just the odd moment where the character glitches out or gets launched. But aside from that, yeah, nothing game breaking. Obviously there are going to be issues because it is an early access game, but at least from my experience it seems pretty stable as well. I definitely would recommend checking this game out since it's available for free, and the only real downside obviously is the microtransactions and the lack of things to do currently. But other than that, it's a pretty good game. It's actually really fun to just sort of skate around really and just sort of mess around in this game. Obviously they will add in more content at some point in the future. I think the season pass actually is coming out this month, I think. Or at least I think it is anyway, I haven't actually checked. But yeah, the season pass is probably going to be coming out pretty soon. So obviously that's going to add a lot more content, hopefully. And I think they said that they are going to be adding more events and things like that to this game. And actually, when they release the Season Pass, I think they're probably going to update the game as well and actually unlock the other area. Because there is another area that's not been unlocked as of yet, with like a stadium in it and something. So maybe they will bring back like the X game events and stuff, maybe. That's actually, I didn't think about that. But yeah, anyway, obviously I'm going to be covering the Season Pass. And I actually want to cover the map as well. Because something about the map just seems a little bit weird to me. Kind of liminal, kind of weird, sort of areas basically, and stuff like that really I want to cover. So yeah, I'm going to be covering the map as well at some point, so stay tuned for that as well. And yeah, hopefully this video has been good. This video was actually made before, I made this last week, but unfortunately they released new information about the season pass and stuff, so I've had to actually remake this video and it's been kind of annoying really. So yeah, hopefully this video has been good, hopefully it doesn't sound too weird and hopefully it doesn't seem too weird, so I apologise if that's the case. And yeah, hopefully I will see you next time. Please be sure to like, comment and subscribe, and stay tuned for more, I guess.